Okay, friends, so we're going to keep on going. We have several more speakers here today, and I'm very excited to introduce the next one. Our next topic here is we asked and they answered what brands and independent marketers have to say about the state of marketing in 2022. To assess the state of marketing this year, the marketing career platform We Are Rosie talked to over 1,000 marketers and thought leaders, and some of the results were surprising. Now you can join Holly Wasson, Chief Community and Marketing Officer of We Are Rosie, as she explains the key trends that the D2C marketers must know to remain competitive in a changing market, including what to expect during a recession, when and how to go freelance, and how the skill sets that brands and agencies are looking for, and the skill sets that brands and agencies are looking for right now. Now, Holly Wasson's bio is plentiful, and I highly encourage that you check her out on our career page to really see all of the amazing details. But I want to maximize the time, as I know Holly has a lot of wisdom to share with us. So Holly, I'm going to pass it over to you if you could lead us through this chat here. And welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. If you don't mind, I'm going to share a presentation.
Yes.
I think I have, let's see, I'll try it now. And
yeah, sometimes it needs, as we're taking off our slide, you might need to, there we go. Thank you for your patience, everyone.
And let me get down here to Google.
Beautiful.
Okay, I'll get it here. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine. I completely understand.
There we go. Can everybody see that?
Da, 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 da. Yes, we can. We did it.
So thank you so much for that introduction. Yes, I'm Holly Wasson. I am the Chief Community and Marketing Officer for We Are Rosie. And just like you said, we have some amazing findings in our third annual Rosie report. And before I get started, a lot of you may be asking, who is We Are Rosie? Well, we are a flexible career platform for marketers in all seasons of their journey. We provide a diverse layer of talent that can either complement, backfill, accelerate brand and agency teams. And we work with the largest brands in the world. So you may ask, how can you call yourself a flex work futurist? Well, it's because we have been around for quite a while. We are a community-first, flexible career platform built for inclusion. We have over 7,000 marketers expanding all areas of expertise. And we find true fit talent matching through some proprietary tech that we use and marketer-to-marketer vetting. We're trusted by the world's largest brands. We have 100% renewal rate, and we're driven by a mission to create equity and inclusion and a better way to work in the marketing and advertising industry. So that's through pay parity, weekly pay, mentorship, upskilling, and we're thought leaders in this industry. We have 3 studies under our belt on the future of work. And let's see if I can get, okay. So we began this report because we were seeing that marketing was really moving and shifting at the speed of projects, and talent was seeking more flexibility. And experts with diverse experience and backgrounds were the ones who were paving this new system. So like you said, we work with a research consulting firm, Streamview Consulting. We have over 1,000 viewpoints in this survey, and you can look behind the scenes and you can see it's a very diverse group of marketers. So we found 4 trends this year that I'm going to take you through and why they're relevant to you. And I'll go through them, and then at the end, I'm going to explain why these are relevant and what you can do as a marketer to embrace these trends. So the first is the great disconnect. We've heard it all over the news. more and more Americans are quitting their job. And that's really driven by the fact that there is this great disconnect after the pandemic about return to office plans. Even Beyonce is singing about it in her song Break My Soul, which, makes it a huge trend for all of us to follow. In April alone, 4.4 million Americans put in their resignation letters. And, we're really seeing these return to office plans drive this. 75% of executives want to work from the office 3 to 5 days a week versus only 34% of employees. So, those are kind of staggering statistics. And we're hearing that these executives are designing these return to workforce policies with little or no input from their employees. So it's causing this issue. And then I know you've heard this all over the news, in office versus hybrid versus remote. It's all over the place. And, at the center of all of this are the two arguments. The back to the office is all about, you're losing institutional knowledge and company culture. Innovation is suffering because you're not together in a room. And hybrid work models could result in a new form of workplace inequity. But on the other side, on the flexible side, is that flexibility allows for, a better work-life balance. There's less groupthink, and remote work levels the playing field and promotes DE&I, because, as we believe at Rosie, that remote work is a form of inclusivity. And I love this quote from Scott Saffon, who is a marketing consultant and a brilliant executive, saying that, companies are fixated on this return to the office, but really they need to be spending more time thinking about what their hybrid work plan is, because hybrid work is going to be here to stay. The next trend that we are following is that flex work is no longer an emergent trend. It is actually mainstream, and it has a subculture, interestingly. We, heard from our consultants, we've been talking to them for years, and we've been watching freelance emerge. Well, by 2028, 90 million Americans, which is 1 out of every 2 workers, are supposed to be holding a freelance position, whether that is their full-time job or they're doing something on the side. And with this growth in freelance, we're really seeing that the stigma around freelance is disappearing. And 73% of those that we interviewed said they're finding that more companies are hiring freelance workers. And they feel more secure as an independent marketer than working for a company when you just don't know if your job could be on the cutting block. And then our Rosie report respondents really said that freelancing is allowing them to prioritize their values. We heard they're making more money as freelancers, and they're also able to have a work-life balance. But not only that, they're able to stretch and grow within their careers through these freelance projects. And we're hearing that people aren't looking back. They really don't have any regrets when they quit their job to go freelance, and they would recommend it to a friend. And it's not a stopgap between jobs anymore. People are making this choice to leave these positions because they feel like they want the flexibility, that they enjoy working on multiple brands at one time, and they're just kind of sick of the hierarchy of the corporate world. And I understand this so much because I was in the corporate world for close to 25 years. When I was just burnt out, and I began to freelance and loved that. And that's how I met Steph, who was running We Are Rosie, and fell in love with this model and did come back in-house. But I did it because I want to help other people have this freedom of being an independent marketer. So a lot of people ask us, so when is the right time to freelance? Well, truthfully, we've heard that you can't be too old or too young to jump into this. We see that Gen Zs and young millennials, they're really honing in on specialized talents to make money as freelancers, whereas older millennials, Gen Xers, and baby boomers are really working on their established brands and their networks. 70% of Gen Zs are considering earning extra income outside their current employer with side projects. And 71% of everybody we talked to said they'd pass up on a promotion to be able to work from anywhere at any time. And even the people that our clients talk about that they hire all levels of independent marketers because they need all levels of talent in their company. Now, it's not surprising how different generations are being connected to work. The younger you are, the more likely you're using platforms like We Are Rosie, as is, if you've been an independent marketer for longer or just a marketer in general for longer, you're going to use your network. Now, the key thing, and once again, the sage insight from Scott Saffon, is that you really have to make sure that you have a specialty before you jump into this. So while it doesn't really matter what age you are, what generation you're from when you jump into this, just make sure that you know what your specialty is. If you don't have one yet, it may make sense to go your traditional job route, get some experience, and then jump out into the independent marketing workforce. And I love this, that freelance is such a thing now that it has a subculture. So you're seeing groups of freelancers coming together and working together because they have a shared experience and they want to connect with other independent marketers. There's this desire to get out there and to connect, and whether that's working in an inexpensive place or joining in a digital community. And they're using mentorship both ways. So younger, less experienced marketers working with older, more experienced, and vice versa. And I love this stat that 85% of the most successful freelancers are part of online communities and meetups. And we're seeing this in the Rosie community. What we're hearing is that people want to network and connect with other independent marketers and learn from each other. So our third one is, diverse. Flex Talents gives you those diverse perspectives, but is that the total solution? Are we just putting a Band-Aid on a bigger problem? And, this is, there's been so much news around, the fight for equality, especially in the workplace. And I love this quote from our founder, Stephanie Olson, who says, "What does it mean for people who have a disability if we insist that everybody work in a physical office? What does it mean for Black people or people of color if we tell them that the only way to work on this big brand is to move to a market where they don't feel a sense of community?" And these are the questions that marketers and brands really need to be asking themselves. We've heard a lot of people since the murder of George Floyd really talk the talk, but are they walking the walk? Are they really implementing true DEI policies within the workforce? And here are some really key findings that we need to talk about, is that flex work is extremely important to diverse groups. And the pandemic really helped them see this. We see that Black workers felt they faced more negative in-person experience in a workplace environment. And when working from home, 64% reported that they were better able to manage their stress working, and 50% reported an increase in feelings of belonging to their company. We also see that, parents and caregivers, especially women, really like the hybrid and remote options. Childcare costs have risen 40% since the beginning of the pandemic. And what we're hearing is that simply hybrid or remote work is helping parents be able to have both sides of the work-life balance. And it's very important to keeping their families together and living in the cities where they want to be. And this is super interesting. Historically marginalized employees are willing to leave if hybrid is not an option. And, we really see that Black employees, LGBTQ employees, women, and employees with disabilities are much more likely to leave if there is not a hybrid option available. And you really need these employees to be have their voices at the table. So you're going to lose out. Brands are going to lose out if they don't offer these options. So we talked a lot about diversity and how these hybrid remote work situations can really help provide you to access of more talent. Butler Till is one of our clients, and we love working with them. And the COO there points out that the fact that they have gone to this hybrid work model, they've been able to open up the geography and expand their talent roster that way. And, they were able to have access to talent and that they wouldn't normally be able to source just locally in one market. And they're seeing that as a great way of getting the diverse voices to the table. But, as we talk about this, is it all just a Band-Aid? We see a lot of companies will hire diverse marketers with diverse voices or with different backgrounds for certain projects, but it can't be a temporary solution. Hiring diverse talent to lend unique viewpoints to specific projects is good, but hiring diverse talent for all projects and roles based on their skills and experience is better. And we have a long way to go here, but we are trending in the right direction. And We Are Rosie is really supporting brands and agencies that care about this. Now, we talked about diversity, and it's very important. But what we're seeing across the board is that while business leaders understand that this is important, the most important part is inclusion. We need to make sure that all employees feel that they are included and part of the company. And if hybrid work is not done correctly, it can breed exclusion. We heard that 43% of remote workers say they don't feel included in meetings, yet only 27% of companies right now have created a new hybrid meeting etiquette to make sure everybody is involved. Brands really need to be leaning into what this hybrid meeting effort is. How do we make sure the people who might be in the office versus people who might be dialing in all feel like they're part of the community? Also, inclusion is key. 40% of people say that they feel isolated at work, and that makes them less engaged and they're less committed. And 1 in 4 employees say they don't feel a sense of belonging at their organization. And only 31% say their leaders are inclusive. So as you can see, companies are starting edging towards the D and the E of DE&I, but they really need to hone in into this inclusion factor, because until we reach that, we're not going to be in a workforce where everyone feels safe and feels part of this community and is able to contribute what they bring to the table. And then finally, with all the global issues that have been popping up, we have just seen brands as well as independent marketers really trying to figure out where they stand. I don't know about you, but I feel like the past few years, it's just constant issues that are popping up, and we're trying to live our lives and be marketers and work while digesting what is happening around us. And what we're really seeing is that brands are struggling to commit to long-term marketing and talent budgets. And marketing talent are starting to really prefer employees who align with their personal values. So along with brands, all of this uncertainty and a looming recession maybe is really making them think about marketing plans in shorter term planning. No longer do we have the days of where you planned your whole year out and knew where you're going to spend your money. Marketers are doing it more in short bursts. And so that's really also driving the fact that they're hiring more freelance talent and agencies versus full-time employees, because they're just not sure what the market's going to be in 6 months. And we're seeing a lot of burst capacity needs. So a lot of project work versus those always on campaigns that you usually see from marketers. The good news for freelancers is traditionally they thrive during economic uncertainty. Back in our last recession, we saw a 12% increase in freelancers. Now, that was before freelance was mainstream. So if we do go into a recession, we're going to expect a huge boom in freelance opportunity. And here's what's super interesting. 3 in 4 CMOs are saying their budgets increased year over year, but they don't have the capabilities to execute that strategy, while little has changed with their FTE budgets. So that means that they're going to be hiring more freelancers specifically for burst capacity project work. Now, from the talent perspective, with everything going on, talent is really expecting corporations to take a stand. And many freelancers say they won't even apply to companies whose cultures and values don't align with their own personal values. 47% of people and 51% of Gen Z associate the social, economic, and political views of a CEO with those of the brand they lead. So CEOs need to be super careful about the messaging they're putting in the market, because everyone associates that, or many people associate that with their brand. And 43% favor companies that take a stance on issues that are important to them. And the issues that we are seeing, here's a list of the issues that are really top of mind during conversations when marketers are thinking about joining a company. And remember that flex talent, they're looking for authentic value alignment. It is much more important to have a true internal policy that is around an important topic than messaging externally. Because a lot of people, a lot of brands, if something happens, they'll go into the marketplace and say they support it, but then you look at their internal policies and it's just not there. It's so much more important that a brand really means it. So what does all this mean for you? And I did this from the point of the independent marketers. We also have some messaging for brands, but I thought this would be interesting for this group. For the great disconnect, remember that work-life harmony doesn't have to be a myth, and you have strength in numbers in the marketing community. So ask what you need and want when it comes to a hybrid or remote work option for you. And with flex work, careers can be extended or built in a freelance capacity. And just consider if you have enough skills to be a specialist, and make sure you get those skills before you jump out into this freelance world. And you can and should find a community to help you with networking, upskilling, and camaraderie if you jump into the freelance world. With diverse perspectives, marketers inquire about a company's inclusive practices, their leadership, and their mission. Does it feel like a place you'd want to work? And know what you're getting into. Take a look as you're walking, if you're at the company, walking up and down the aisles, and see, who is represented in that company. And use the opportunity of flex work to test out a company's culture if you're not sure. And then with the global and environmental issues affecting brands and talents, review those internal policies and track records. And just remember that a stance in public or a lack of one does not equate to an internal policy. So make sure you talk to people who work there and look at what the policies are. And then remember that with, all this marketing budget planning and uncertainty, there's a freelance opportunity for burst capacity. So consider those short-term opportunities that could be bridged together throughout the year. So I am going to stop presenting and see if there are any questions that I can answer. Okay, I've just opened this. So Monica says, let's see, I don't know if these are questions. CEOs should be held accountable for DE&I in face-to-face work, regardless of a PSC. I completely agree with you, Monica. I didn't know if there's a question there. Stacy's asking, does We Are Rosie hire contract talent or employees? We are Rosie is a flexible career platform. So we are doing flex work. So we have 4 products. So we do flexible talent. So we can do individual talent to fill a need. We do flex exec. So that's executive consulting talent. We also do flex teams, so we can build an entire campaign team for that will tackle anything, any type of campaign an agency would. And we do flexi in-housing. So with our independent marketers, we can build an entire in-house team, take over a creative studio, an in-house media department, anything like that. So we're all flex work. Any other questions? So if there aren't any other questions, Hunter, I will just wait for you to kind of take back the reins.
Thank you so much for that, Holly. Sorry to leave you hanging there for a moment.
No problem. No problem at all.
Well, thank you so much for that chat. And are there other ways that people can connect with you and with what you're doing?
Yes, absolutely. So our website is wearerosie.com. So come and connect with us there. Check out the offerings that we have. We love putting people to work in independent roles. And we're happy to talk to you about, leaving full-time jobs to become an independent marketer.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Holly, and appreciate you making the time today.
Thank you. Have a great day.